So today's practice is a hips and hamstring opening practice, but today particularly is inspired by me waking up about 3 o'clock in the morning and seeing a half moon just shining right into my window. So we've got a crescent moon, a half moon, and one of my favorite yoga poses is Ardha Chandrasana, which is half moon. And all of you have practiced with me before. Half moon, when we modify it, we're in our gate pose and we raise the leg, right? So you're all familiar with this position. When we do a standing position and we pivot our foot and we come into what we would call our warrior two legs, bending into the knee. Two things I'm going to caution you about. So as we flow through this, pay particular attention that your knee and your toes track straight forward. The tendency is for the heel to slide out to the side because it thinks you're going to fall, and that's a protective mechanism. So keep the heel and the toes pointing forward. We're going to shift the weight into the front foot. We're going to place the hand on the chair, and we're going to come in just like we do when we're doing our modified. And then we'll step it back and come back. So again, the chair is there to bring the floor closer. If you have half moon in your practice and you use a block, you can take the block, come down a little bit lower, or I'm not stretched out yet, or the fingertips. So I'm going to show with the chair, and then you can take your practice deeper if you have half moon in your practice. It is a beautiful hip opener. It's a hip strengthener, inner thighs. It just requires a lot of strength, and it's also a balance because you're balancing on one foot and one hand. So that's the plan for today. But let's start, as we always do, centering, coming down onto our back body. Again, elevate the heart. Find some space along the upper chest. And physically, that just allows more air to come in to the body because we're not all hunched over. It also allows the shoulders to fall away from the ears, kind of countering all that tech neck stuff that we do on our devices. Today, because it is a hips class, I'm going to ask you to come into reclined butterfly. Soles of the feet together, press the heels and the balls together, send the toes back towards the shins, flaring through the feet. And then if you need the support, please grab blocks or pillows underneath your thighs so that there's no strain here to hold the knees out. Take a breath in through the nose and just kind of sigh it out the mouth. Just wash through the body here. A big breath in. And together, just 2 more. Just inhaling fully through the nose. Big sound as you sigh all the air out. And last time, draw in the breath. And let all of it go. And then come back to just your normal rhythm of breath. Closing down the eyes. Welcome yourself to your practice, to this beautiful mat, this safe, sacred space. Let the body let go of any tension or clenching. So notice the hips first. Are you trying to hold the knees up? Any strain in the inner thigh? Can you let the space in the low belly between the hip points be soft? And as you come up to the ribs, flare the ribs with the in-breath, but soften everything with the out-breath. And the heart space, lift it up. Take in a full breath. Expand through the chest. And then again, let that breath wash through you on the exhale, just kind of touching everything, softening, relaxing. Two more breaths like that. And then we'll take the hands to the outside of the thighs. Use the power of the hands, not the inner thighs, to draw your knees together. Roll to one side. Take the towel off to the side. Remove anything underneath the head. And take a full body stretch. Toes away from the fingers, length through the whole front body, small arch in the back body. And then draw the knees into the chest, hug them in. Take a rock side to side, feeling into the back body here. And then plant the left foot down, interlace around that right hamstring, and nice and slow, lift the right leg towards the ceiling. So it doesn't have to come straight. It has to come to the point where you feel some sensation, some length happening in the back of the leg. Re-soften the shoulders, relax the jaw, release the tongue. Belly is soft, spine is supported. Gently draw the thigh in closer to the chest. Keep that right foot flexed. And then release and let that leg come back to that 90 degree right over the hip point. And we're going to do that twice more. So flex the foot, heel is up, draw the thigh in close. Again, no death grip on that leg. Shoulders are soft. And then inhale, bring it back up to that 90 degrees. Last time, draw it in. This time, let's hold it in for a full breath. Take an inhale through the nose. And an exhale out of the nose. Walk the hands up closer to the calf. Draw again, maybe the leg in a little bit closer. If you want to hold in stillness, hold here. Otherwise, return the leg back to that 90 degrees and then draw it back in. So just coaxing the muscle that way to relax and to release. I'm going to hold mine in stillness. Taking another full deep breath in, maybe we walk the hands towards the ankle. A little bit of stretch here through the arms. Again, no forcing, just focus. Take a full breath. And opening up into a half happy baby here, begin to bend into the right knee, bring it towards that right shoulder. You can keep your hands right on your ankle to draw that knee down. You can grab for your big toe with your peace fingers or the blade edge of the foot. But see if you can drop that knee down, opening up the back of the glutes. And again, belly is soft, upper body is soft. Pressing the foot into the hand and the hand into the foot, you'll feel the back here supported by your mat. Taking in a full breath. And then let that ankle travel across the body to rest on the left thigh. Keep that right foot flexed. So the toes are flared, pointing back towards the shin. Hands, fingers inside lightly, the right inner thigh to just encourage the knee away from the body. So if you've done this a lot with me, you know that perhaps you don't need those fingers. Maybe you can just send the knee away. So beginning to feel the wrap, the stretch around the right hip. Just pause there. And then we're going to let that knee fall in towards the chest, over to that left shoulder toward it. And I'm going to use my hands to the outside of that right knee to just draw it down. So beginning to stretch from the low back through the glute, from the glute down the hamstring, the IT band. Re-soften the upper body. And then release that, send that knee back. And again, willfully send the knee away from the body or use the fingertips lightly to encourage that movement. And then without the use of the hands, we're going to pick up the whole leg structure. So you're going to use your core, use the strength of the hips, pick up the left foot, draw that right shin in towards the chest. So look, Mom, no hands here. So once it comes in and I feel the stretch into the outer left or right hip, then maybe I'll interlace around the left hamstring, use my right elbow to again encourage that right knee away from the body and extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. So drawing everything in, but again, no force, just focus here. Soft shoulders. And then point and flex through that right foot. So as you point, feel again the stretch in the top of the foot, the top of the ankle. And as you flex, warming up that calf, Achilles, and ankle. Both feet flexed. Begin to circle through that left ankle. Big circles. Again, the rest of the body is still. It's just working right through that ankle joint and send it the opposite way. And then flare the toes and then draw them in tight. Left toes spread wide and then draw them in like a fist. Last time. Wide toes and a fist. And then just circle it out. Just rinse it out any way that feels good. Bring your focus back to that right hip and draw that left thigh in. Relax the shoulders. Take in a nice full deep breath here. And then nice and slow, like you were painting a wall, keep the left foot flexed, but slowly drop the left heel. So like your whole sole of your foot was painting a wall behind you or in front of you here. Let it go all the way down, nice and slow. Release the left foot to the mat. Take a moment here. Again, right knee away from the body. We're going to take a little twist. So take the arms out to a T. The whole leg structure is going to just fall over to the left. See if you can secure the right foot either on your mat or on your block or bolster. Maybe wrap the left hand around the ankle to hold it there so that now you can point that right knee back towards the ceiling or maybe even further back towards the back of your mat. Take a full breath. This one's big, so again, no force. Full deep breath. And if you're holding the ankle, release that, the arms back to a T. Engage your core, pick up the whole leg structure, come back to neutral. Reset the spine, level out those hip points, send that right knee away again. This time we're going to just twist over to the right. So same thing. You might want to walk that left foot down towards the back of the mat a little bit so that you can come in a little bit deeper with that left knee, but send the whole leg structure over to the right. Right ankle outside of the left thigh, left knee coming down towards the mat. So big stretch from the hip to the outside of that IT band down to the knee. Take a full breath and maybe extend the left arm overhead, resting on the back of the hand so you can press the fingers away, getting that stretch here from the hip to the knee, but the hip through the ribs, shoulder, arm and fingers, and enjoy 2 big breaths here. Circle the arms back to your T, press through those fingers, engage your core, let the knees come back to center. Again, take a moment just to feel the hips level out. Release the right ankle, draw the knees into the chest. Take a little rock. And we'll plant the right foot down and we'll move over now to the left hip. So as you're ready, interlace around the left hamstring, re-soften now the shoulders again, and extend the left leg out to the ceiling. So again, we lead with the heel. Why? Because it just engages all the muscles in the back of the leg. Good. Toes pointing down towards your face starts to engage the muscles along the shin and the quad. So as you draw that thigh in closer to the chest, pause, and then release the leg back to that 90 degrees right over the hip point. And we'll just flow this a little bit here. So draw it in, heel raised, and let it go. So you can continue that motion, or if it serves you and you'd like to hold, draw the thigh in, relax the shoulders, the face, gaze up at those flared toes, and just begin to soften into the stretch. If you're taking the flow option, draw the thigh in now and hold here. Maybe walk the hands to the calf. So again, the arms, the shoulders relax, belly is in. Notice your breath. Maybe walk the hands up towards the ankles. So again, nice stretch here through the arms, but the shoulders stay down, the face stays soft. Draw a full inhale in through the nose, and a slow exhale out of the nose. And prepare for your half happy baby on this side. So just bending into that left knee, draw it to the outer ribs. Again, you take the option, maybe forearm around the knee crease, maybe just holding on to the ankle or the calf, or reaching for the foot. So if you're taking the foot option, press the foot into the hand and the hand into the foot. Notice the back body. Notice the stretch now coming through the glute from the low back. Soften where you can soften. 2 breaths. And we'll bring now the left ankle across to rest on the right thigh. Flex through that left foot. So when you flex, that's the toes flaring wide, pointing towards your shin. Taking the left fingertips gently inside the left thigh. Encourage the knee away from the body. Level out your hips, soften your shoulders, release the jaw. And just begin to notice as the knee flows away from the body, the stretch here into the whole left hip joint. And then just soften into that. Keeping the foot flexed here, we're going to just draw the left knee towards that right shoulder. So just let it fall in. Maybe use the hands on the outside of the thigh and the knee to draw it in closer. Begin to get that stretch from the low back through the piriformis, through the glute to where the hamstring connects, and just breathe into that. And gently release, let that left knee go back. See if it can Go back towards the back of your mat. Again, a big opening. And then without the use of your hands, use the strength of your hips. Pick up the whole leg structure. Bring that left shin in closer to the body. And then maybe interlace around the right hamstring and use that left elbow to help prop that left knee away. Again, maintaining that stretch right through the left hip. Draw in the shin and just pause here. Take a breath. And as you settle the body, take that right leg up towards the ceiling. And here again, we'll just point and flex. Wake up the right foot, the right ankle. Really stretch the top of the foot, the top of the ankle. There isn't too many times in our day where we can find that kind of a stretch, I guess, unless you're a ballerina. Good. Flare the toes, make a little fist, flare them as wide as you can, pinky away from the big toe, and then draw them in. Last time, wide, and make that fist. And then come back, and we're just going to circle through the ankle nice and slow. Maybe 4 or 5 times one way, and 4 or 5 times the other. And then releasing that, just bring the foot back to a flex. Take a moment here, re-soften the shoulders, take a full breath in and draw the shin in maybe a little bit closer. Use that elbow to prop the knee like a kickstand. Take a full breath. And then we'll bend into the right knee, nice and slow. Again, just like it was a paintbrush, and we're just painting that wall slowly. Draw the sole of the foot down towards the mat. Releasing the clasp, send the arms out to a T. Again, fix that left knee away from the body, flex through that left foot, and we're going to just drop the whole leg structure over to the right. So again, secure the foot on a block, on your bolster. Maybe right hand wraps itself around the ankle to hold the foot in place so that you can point that left knee towards the ceiling. And if it's there for you, maybe a little bit further back. Take a nice full deep breath here. See if you can just relax into this pretty powerful stretch. Releasing the arm back to a T, engage your core, lift the legs back up to center. Take a moment, level out the hips. Again, reflex that left foot, send the left knee away. And here maybe you scoot the right foot towards the bottom of your mat so you have a little bit more room to work with. And as you're ready, we're just going to drop the legs over to the left. So now that left ankle is right outside the right thigh. Again, we're trying to bring the right knee down closer to the mat so that we get this stretch through the outer right leg, the IT band, hip to the knee. Adding to that, we'll take that right arm overhead, resting on the back of the hand and reaching through those fingers. So now the stretch is not only hip to knee, but all the way down the right side body, the soft tissue under the arms, all the way to the fingers. Enjoy 2 full breaths here. Releasing the arm back to a T. Take the big inhale, bring the knees back up. Level out the hips, release the left ankle, Draw the knees back into the chest. This time, hands rest lightly on top of the knees. Send each of the knees right and left open to this wide V or a floating cobbler. Send the knees down towards the back of your mat as you roll more onto your tailbone, and then draw the knees into the chest. So here I could just say circle your knees out to the side and back. So we're internally, externally rotating through both of the hips. But what I'd like you to do is really enjoy the back massage here from that tailbone all the way up the spine. And then when the knees come in, reverse that, take the knees down towards the back of the mat, out to the sides and back in. So maybe you do notice it in the hips, a little bit of a washout there, but it's really nice on the spine. And last time, draw the knees in, let the hips roll up with you so you get a nice stretch in that sacrum low back area. And then release that, knees over to the side. Make your way onto hands and knees. Floating just a couple cat-cows to release the spine since we've been on our backs here. So you've all practiced cat-cow, you know, dropping the belly, lifting the heart, and the tailbone finds a nice arch in the spine. And then pressing through those palms, tucking in the chin, length through the neck, length through the spine, width through the upper shoulders. And just flow a couple times back and forth. And returning to that neutral spine, scooping the belly in and up, bring the big toe mounds together, let the knees go as wide as you can. Before you come down into a child's pose, sink the hips back here, press into your palms. So you're lengthening through the spine, but you're setting the hips back, getting a nice stretch through the inner thighs. The wider the knees, the deeper the stretch. And then come down on your forearms, or stack your fists and rest your head. Let the elbows go wide so that there's a lot of room to just drop the shoulders and the chest. And if you're here for your 20-minute practice, this is where we will leave you. But I do ask that you turn off your device and just spend a moment or two in a child's pose of your choice before you step off your mat and greet your day. Take one more full round of breath, really breathing into the back body here, flaring the back ribs. And then we'll bring the hands flat on the mat, draw the torso up, draw the knees in, returning back into your tabletop position. Again, another cat and a cow. And just to warm up the body, we're going to do our modified vinyasa flow. So again, you can take any or all of it. I will be leading child's to table to modified up dog. We'll be adding on down dog and plank, but you take what you need this morning. So knees hip distance apart, tuck the toes under just to begin to get a stretch into the toe joints. Set the hips back towards the heels and walk the fingertips as far forward as you can. So lowering the chest, lowering the forehead, beginning to feel the length of the spine from the tailbone all the way through the cervical spine. The arms reach so you get a nice stretch through the shoulders, fingers walking as far forward as they can. Extended child's pose. And then as you're ready with breath, take a full inhale, draw the belly in, and bring yourself up to table, rounding through the spine. And then shifting forward, the hips come forward. Maybe the hips come down as you lift the chest up, any amount. And then press back into the palms to come back to table and shift the hips back as you find your extended child's pose. With breath, inhaling, we flow up through table to that modified up dog. Pressing back into the palms to find that table back to extended child's pose. Just like that, one more time. Again, see now, instead of just stopping in table or up dog, see if you can make it a flow, a fluid motion with fluid breath. Coming back to that extended child's pose, pause here. Again, feel the length in the whole back body. Take a full breath. Now you can stay with just that version. That gives you your spine a lot of mobility. I'm going to lead the down dog to plank. So join me if that's good for you this morning. As you're ready, inhale, gather in the belly. Bring it up and bring it forward. Your toes are tucked, so when you come back through that table, you lift your hips high and back to find the dog. Press through your hands, drop the chest towards the thighs. Take a moment here, deep breath in. Come up high on your toes, way forward to find your plank. Strong plank pose, belly's engaged. Press back to your dog pose. Drop the knees lightly to your child's pose. So that's the flow. Take any of it that you feel is good this morning. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, we come forward. Toes are tucked so that when we come back through table, we lift the hips up, sink the heels down, lengthen the whole back body. Come up high on the tippy toes, flow yourself to your plank. Heels back, chest forward, belly in. Press back to your dog. And drop the knees. Child's pose. Once more, inhale fluidly. We come up and forward. We move back to lift the hips high. We flow forward to find that upper push-up. We send it back with breath to your down dog. And then we drop the knees. And we find child's pose. Pausing here. Arms are extended. Flip the hands over to rest on to the back of the hand. Let the forearms rest here. And then just make a fist and draw the knuckles in towards the inter-wrist. Nice stretch through the wrist on the outside. Open back up, hands come down to the mat. Send those fingers as wide as you can. This time, drop the thumb into the palm, wrap 4 fingers around it. And again, draw the knuckles in towards the inner wrist. Then, like you were in, what do you call, fist bumping, the knuckles will come together at center. Pause there. Again, keep that fist. Then send the thumbs away from each other, right and left. And then fist bump again. And then roll the fingers open. Sweep the hands to the outside of the body to a T. Reach through the fingers. Soften those shoulders down. And then continue the journey with the hands towards the feet. Maybe you hold on to your ankles, or maybe you just let the arms rest, palms up beside the body. An opportunity here to just totally release the shoulders, to open up through the shoulder blades. With the knees together, you find a little more length, a little more curvature now in the spine. Take 3 rounds of breath and just let go of anything you can let go of here. Nothing to hold up. On your next inhale, releasing the hands and bringing the palms right underneath the shoulders. Keep the toes tucked under and maybe even check that little pinky toe that it's in there with everybody. And then press into your palms to lift your torso. So as you lift your torso, walking back, bring your hands beside the body, press into your fingertips and lift your knees. So you're coming into a squat. This is a big stretch into the Achilles and the dorsiflexion in the front of the ankle. Pause there. So you're in a squat, feet are together, big toes touching. Open up the legs, the knees, right and left. Back is straight. Again, you're resting on the balls of your feet and you're balancing with your fingertips. Straight spine, gaze towards the top of your mat and just see if you can walk your fingertips out. So the body is coming in between the thighs, stretching through the back body, stretching through those inner thighs and stretching through the toes. So just do what you can here. It's a big stretch too. Take a full breath. And then walk the hands back, close the knees, lift the hips high, find your forward fold at the back of your mat. So as you forward fold here, keep the knees bent. Why? Because that helps you straighten the spine. So the belly can rest on the thighs. You've got your tailbone lifted, nice straight spine. See if you're trying to hold your head up. Let the head hang. Maybe shake it out. Maybe to bring a little length into the neck, you interlace around the occiput of the head. Let the elbows bring some weight. Maybe you feel tight in the hips and it feels good to sway. Maybe to bring some vibration into the body, you kind of shake a little bit. So notice what feels good in your body this morning and just play with that and explore. And again, if your hamstrings are tight, remember you can always come to your block, right? Raise the floor up to you. So I'm going to demonstrate here with the block. I have it on the medium setting. I've got my hands resting secure. But bring the big toes together. Take a moment here, draw the belly in. And then we're going to take that right foot. We're going to just step it behind the left. Maybe the pinky toes touch, maybe they don't. The front knee is bent, the back leg is straight. The belly lowers down to the thighs, the head hangs. So nice stretch through the back of the right leg. Take a full breath. And then release, right foot comes back, big toes together. Take a bow over the thighs, forward fold. Draw in a half lift so the spine gets long, the shoulder tips roll back, head forward. And then we'll switch to the other side. So a slight bend into the knees as you draw the left foot around so that the pinkies somewhat meet. Front knee is bent, left leg is straight behind you. Soften again through the shoulders, find that forward fold and sink into the deep stretch into the back leg. Next inhale, we'll bend slightly into the knees and we'll release that. Come back, big toe mounds together. Good. Forward fold. See if you can sink down, maybe even clasping your hands behind your knees, reaching for your forearms or your wrists, and really securing the belly to the thighs. Crown of the head drops. And then we'll release the fingers down to the mat. Let the arms dangle. Take a big bend into the knees, press through your feet, and roll your way to stand. And as you roll up to stand, squeeze through the glutes. It'll feel good. Let the shoulders come up to the ears. Let them drop down the back. So you squeeze the shoulder blades together. Beautiful. And then walk to the top of your mat. Nice and slow. Feet hip distance apart. I'm just going to change this a little bit. Let's see if that's a better angle. Good. So as you're at the top of the mat, the chair with one leg is going to be on the left corner of your mat. So go ahead and make that adjustment first. And then bring yourself back to prayer Tadasana. Closing down the eyes, feeling into your foundation, your feet, lifting all 10 toes, spreading them wide again, dropping them slowly back down to the mat. Maybe closing the eyes and just a subtle movement, front to back, heel to the ball of the feet. Using the breath to soften the whole upper body, shoulders soft. And as you subtly rock front to back, feel the engagement of the legs. Maybe the kneecaps lift, the quads engage, the glutes squeeze. And then take it side to side, blade edge to the inner arch. Feeling into the entire base, your foundation here, your connection to the earth. And as I said, we're going to be working into half moon. Half moon is what was shining down this morning on all of us. So in honor of the moon and the lunar cycle, we start with the new moon, the dark moon, and then we move to half moon and full moon, and back to half moon and back to new moon. And even if you don't follow astrology, and I really don't, all of our ancestors depended on the moon cycle to know when to plant their crops, when to nurture their crops in the half moon, and when to harvest moon. It plays a really big in our life. Breath in, and just imagine that half moon shining down, illuminating you. And let's flow through a couple sun salutations here this morning. So on your inhale, soft knees, lift the arms up towards the ceiling, extend way up, find the prayer, draw the prayer through heart center as you forward fold. Nice and slow, let all the air out. When you're ready for the in breath, fingers to the shins, crown of the head forward, hips back. And then release that breath with a deeper fold. Pressing into the feet, bending the knees, arms reach out, arms reach up and overhead. And find the prayer hands, maybe the back bend. And then flow again, all the way down. Let all the air out. The half lift and the fold. And then rising up, reaching up, stretching up, maybe the back bend, And 2 more on your own. Full breath to lead the way. Taking your time to meet in prayer Tadasana. Again, feel into the feet and soften the shoulders. Take in a full breath. Bring your hands to the hip points. Take a big step back with your right foot and come to the long edge of your mat. So again, if you need to change your device up any. So we have a wide V stance, kind of a pigeon toe here, heels out slightly, hands to the hips. Just squeeze in the elbows, open up the chest, take a forward fold here. So the chest, the heart leads the way, straight spine. As you come down halfway, pause there. Drop your fingertips down to the mat underneath your shoulders. So it's kind of like that half lift. And then walk the fingertips forward to keep the hips back. So you've got a down dog position with the upper body. Press the hips back, reach the fingers long in front of you, and see if you can release the chest and the underarms of the shoulders down. Take a full breath here. Just a nice stretch for both the legs and the upper body. Then walk the fingertips back as they come underneath the shoulders, flip them around so now the fingers face behind you, and continue the walk towards the opposite side of your mat, letting that head fall down, crown of the head coming down towards the mat. Again, release the shoulders, scoop that belly in and up, and really lift that tailbone. Take a breath here. And then walk it back. Flip the fingers around. Good. Hands come to the hip crease. Bring a gentle bend into the knees, and with a straight spine, draw yourself all the way back up. Nice. We're going to pivot the left foot to the top of the mat. So if you were to draw a line, you're going to be about 2 inches from the legs of your chair. Let me adjust this a bit. So straight line, the knee and the toes point straight forward. This is super important in this pose. We don't want to injure the knee at all. So coming into warrior 2 legs, bend into the left knee. So sink the hips. And as you sink down, again, opening up through the pelvis here, extend the arms out and find your warrior 2. So gazing over the fingertips, sink the pelvis down, bring some weight into the back foot. We're going to move into side angle. So side angle, forearm comes down to the thigh. Bring the hand to the waist. So again, gaze down, toes and knees straight forward, not sickling in. And to help with that, we're going to take that block and we're going to place it right inside the left foot. So not a lot of weight here on that thigh, right? Forearm is nice and light. So once you have the block there, release the forearm and bring your hand to the block. So you can bring the block on its highest level. And the purpose of this is to let that elbow draw back against the leg. Take a bend into that knee. Just to feel what it's like to keep that knee straight forward. Take a breath. And then we're going to straighten that left knee. Again, rotate the heart up. So triangle pose. The leg is straight. Maybe the arm reaches. Maybe the chest opens. Take a breath. Bring the hand back to the upper waist. Take a bend into the left knee. You're using the block, just set it aside for a second. So again, checking the knee and the foot straight ahead. Launch off of your back foot, hand plants on the chair, and float the back leg up. Take your time. Here we go. Hand to the chair. Front knee is bent. Come up on the toes of the back foot. Press your way up and lift. Now, recheck that bottom foot. The heel's going to want to slide out to the side. Let the pelvis kind of round in because we're up. So we don't lift that leg too high. And we let the pelvis just relax. We're not stacking through the hips here. Really firm up your standing leg. You can gaze down or you can gaze out to the side. You all have practiced with me enough. You know I don't like looking up. It puts too much stress, at least on my neck. So as you take a breath here and you find your stability, maybe you lift the arm. Press through that heel. Toes are pointing straight to the side. Flare those toes. Open up your chest. My gaze is straight down at my foot. One more breath here. Strong pose. And then bring the hand back to the waist. Nice and slow. Bend back into the front knee as you place the back foot down. Returning to warrior two. Gaze over the fingers. Sink down. Find your breath. Flip the palm. Straighten the front leg. Send the left arm up and back. Reverse your triangle. See how far back you can come into that side stretch. And then return. Warrior two. Full breath. Hands to the hips. Pivot the foot around. And we're going to move to the opposite side. So take your chair. Again, you want to maintain at least one leg on your mat so it doesn't slide. Make sure you have a block down here. And so the chair is going to be off now to the left corner. Okay. So as we return, hands are on the hips. The left foot is parallel or slightly in, and we've pivoted the right foot towards the top of the mat. So again, we take that look. If we were going to draw the line, we're just a couple inches off of the chair leg. Okay, bend into the right knee. Check to make sure that the ankle and the second toe point straight ahead. They don't sickle in. And then sink down into your warrior two legs. Extend the arms. Gaze over the fingers. Sink the hips just a little bit more. Soften the shoulders and draw in the belly. Side angle. Forearm's going to come down to rest lightly on the thigh. Notice again if the foot tried to move, because that's a natural reaction if your body thinks it's going to fall. That heel slides out to the side. So keep the bend into the knee, light rest of the forearm. Extend the arm up, side angle. So sink down as much as you can. Keep some weight into that back foot. And then with your block here, bring the block inside the right foot. Release the forearm. Place the hand on the block. Okay, so I have mine on the highest setting, but you're certainly welcome to come deeper or not use the block at all. But as you rest the arm down, use that elbow to help press against the right knee. Just again, to get that feeling of keeping it in line here. Taking in a breath. Straighten that front leg. We'll find that triangle pose, maybe stacking through the shoulders. Rotating the chest up, gaze can be out to the side or it can be straight down. And I'm not going to negate the fact that you can look up at your thumb. If you've got a healthy neck and it doesn't cause any pain, please feel free. One more breath. And then we're going to come into half moon here. So nice and slow, begin to bend into that front knee. Come up onto the ball of the back foot. Launch yourself forward. Hand comes to the chair. Notice again the front heel and toe. The back toes point out to the side. Press through the heel for stability. Let the pelvis kind of roll in with you here. And to the waist. And as you find your stability, each side's different. This one is much more difficult for me. As you find yourself here, relax the breath. Maybe extend the arm. Maybe just keep it at center. Press through the heel, flare those toes. Slight bend into the standing leg, but it is strong. Here for 3 breaths. So really building straight. Tighten the glutes, draw in the belly, press through the heel, both legs, super active. One more breath. And then nice and slow, we're going to release this by bending into the front leg, slowly stepping the back foot back into that warrior 2 position. Bringing the hands right and left, soften the shoulders, sink down with the pelvis. Flip the front palm, send it up towards the ceiling as you straighten through the front leg. Reverse triangle here. Come back, find your 2. Stretch through the fingers, draw in the belly. Find your drishti, your gaze. Then hands to the hips, straighten the right leg, pivot it around, and squeeze the elbows back, lift the chest, open the throat, come down halfway. Release the fingertips again to the mat. Let them find their ankles. Hold on to the ankle and use that. Elbows go wide to the side. Just drop the head down. Releasing the ankles, hands right back underneath the shoulders, heel toe the feet to center. Finding that forward fold. One last time, maybe feet hip distance apart, shoulders, arms, head dangle down, belly rest on the thighs. Last stretch here through the back of the legs, back of the glutes, wrapping into the low back. And then bring the big toe mounds together. Sink the hips down, come onto the balls of the feet again, that squat, knees go wide. So big toes together, you're resting on your fingertips and the balls of your feet, using those forearms, elbows to open up the knees. Take a full breath. And to come out, bring the knees together, drop them down to the mat, shift over to one side, and extend the legs long in front of you. Give them a nice shake out. Again, maybe the thumb pads come to the hip crease. Give a nice massage to the outer hips, the thighs. Flare the toes again, make a fist. Maybe windshield wiper, just the ankles back and forth. And then pick up the knees, plant the feet, and slowly roll your way down, all the way onto your back body. Draw the knees into the chest. Hold here, again, just to let the tailbone lift into the hug with you, releasing the low back. Planting the feet wide on your edge of your mat, toes pointing forward. Leave the right knee up, but just drop the left knee into center. Again, stretching through the left low back and the hip and the outside of the leg. And if you want to for one, again, you can always raise that left arm and get the full stretch all the way up the side body. Left knee comes up. Keep it pointing up towards the ceiling as you drop the right knee into center. Again, just let gravity and the weight just bring a little bit of stretch. Release to the hip and the IT band. And again, if you want the full body stretch, reach the right fingertips up. Releasing that, walk the feet back to center. Bring the soles of the feet, the heels together. Let the knees fall out wide. Flare the toes. Really press in through the heel and the ball of the feet. But allow the knees here to just gently fall. Support if you need the support. Nothing to hold up here. Just let weight, gravity, bring in the stretch. All you have to do here is breathe. Maybe close down the eyes. A hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. Shoulders soften down and away. Chin drops in closer to the throat. Releasing the jaw and the tongue from the top of the mouth. Beginning that healing, cleansing breath. Inhales, exhales twice as long as the inhales. I'll lead 3 and 6, but you take what you need here. As you're ready to inhale, breathe in to the count of 3. Pause. Release the breath slowly for the count of 6. Let it wash through you. Breathe in to the count of 3. Pause the breath. Slowly release to the count of 6. Continuing on your own. Just notice what you notice that the breath brings to the body and to the mind. That's our yoga practice. Releasing all breath control now. Just come back to your own natural rhythm of breath. Let the body feel heavy and loose and supported by your mat, by this practice. And please stay as long as you can. We'll close our practice here this morning. I thank you for setting aside the time for yourself and your self-care, and for joining me in my journey as well. Namaste.